Another Thursday. It's here.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Drawing Hive. Just a reminder, we are a product of Visual Arts Passage. Visual Arts Passage offers online mentorship courses that assist illustrators, character designers, and painters in their career development. We've been doing this for ever. This is still, and I really had a laugh. Timmy, I don't know what you were watching when our little intro was playing, but it looked like you were following the bee around the screen. You had this like this mesmerized look.
No, I'm always very in my head when the music plays because we just sit here.
It's like Timmy's really fascinated with that. That's
It
pretty
doesn't
fun.
get old.
One awesome bee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. This is going to be fun. We're drawing some individuals, some artists that I really enjoy their work, and they were very influential to a lot of people that were very influential to me. And they had great effect on a group of illustrators and painters, and I think it's going to be fun to talk about. So, first of all, we're drawing great artists, and that we could do a segment on this for every Thursday for years. There's so many great artists out there. These are people, when we say, there is no measurement who is the best. It's not a contest. These were just some very influential artists and important. They were important to a legacy of artists that came after them. So, by the way, that photograph is of Richard Diebenkorn. He's one of my favorite painters. And we did it. We used a photo of Richard last year, so I kind of held off on that. I'll bring another one back soon, though, because he is one of my favorite. We'll do another segment of painters very soon. All right, so these are the four. The top left is Pierre Bonnard. To the right is Mary Cassatt, Francis Bacon in the bottom left, and then Nathan Oliveria on the bottom right. And they were all just spectacular. And the oldest of all of them is Mary Cassatt. She came first, followed by Bonnard, then Bacon, and then Oliveria, just in chronological order. Cassatt and Bonnard were very close together.
They're all like in their 20s in these photos, right, John?
Especially Mary.
Yeah, no.
Pierre Bonnard's probably pretty young in that, right?
Well, we might joke about that and all of that, but Pierre Bonnard is very young, but he lived to be almost to his 80th birthday. He was 79. Mary Cassatt lived to be into her 80s.
Wow.
Francis Bacon, believe it or not, was really close. I mean, what a life that he had. I'm not sure. I have times and dates on things.
I'll look their ages up before we're done.
I got it all.
I'd be amazed to hear Francis Bacon had a long, long life.
He lived, he was born in 1909 and lived to 1992. So what does that make him? 72
He's
years,
like the
77.
exception to the rule of everything you shouldn't do.
Yeah. He did things, he had a good time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I should not say that. He was also kind of a troubled soul at times too.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Oliveria lived to be 81. Actually, Bacon was 80, almost 83 when he died. He lived the longest of any of them.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Keith Richards logic.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Just get a blood transfusion. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Mary Cassatt lived to be 82. And again, that's pretty amazing considering the time period too. I mean, that's all changed. Well, anyway, we're going to get drawing tonight. My educational segment tonight is just a deeper dive into one of these artists and somebody that had an extreme amount of influence on painters I really love, and then a group of illustrators. So, let's go. Go ahead. We're ready to
Yeah,
go.
I was just going to say, everybody, if you're joining us for the first time, please draw along. I'm going to drop a link to the photo reference in the chat. That way you can grab it. And then also on that page, there is a link to join us on Discord. So if you want to be part of the community, you can share your work while we're drawing. You can talk with other people. Please do it. It's a really great community. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, we're doing, there's 4 photos,
yep.
2 20-minute poses and one 40-minute pose,
Mhm.
which you can either do 2 poses of the last 2 photos or just work on one longer,
Yeah.
or you can just take them out of order and do whatever you want.
And one thing I will say, one of the things that makes this all fun is post it to Instagram, and we're going to come up with a custom hashtag. I think we already got one. It's Hive Goats. Um, but we'll be posting that, but post throughout the night with the right hashtag. We'll give you the prompts. We'll tell you when, and we're going to check out the work at the end of the night. It's my favorite part of the night. It's what I think makes this community really fun. And so please draw with us and don't be afraid to share because our panelists share every week. They really do.
Yes.
And for anybody wondering, one, I know Adam's logging on later tonight, which is exciting. And then two, John has an intro song tonight.
What?
Yeah, John doesn't know about it, but John has an educational segment intro.
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So I have the more you know logo wrapped
I,
around it. So yeah.
Brilliant.
So
yes.
John, are you gonna be you're usually you've been switching your camera on the second post, haven't you? I don't want to throw you
Yeah,
off.
I mean, I'm gonna wait till the second pose.
Yeah.
I'm not in it every time. I'm just putting, well, I'll do it. I can talk about what I'm doing real quick too.
Well, I mean, no pressure. There's a lot of juggling having to be the only having to represent the educational aspect of drawing hive and drawing paint before that.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long day of education to me. Uh,
That
right
was
now,
fun. We got to talk to some of Adam's students today. I'm sure
Oh,
we'll talk
that's so
about it.
fun.
Yeah.
it was very fun.
John and I woke up at the crack of dawn for a New Jersey morning class, which was
Yeah,
fun.
we agreed to do this, and then Adam said, "Well, yeah, our class is at 8:30 a.m. and which is 7:30 a.m. for Timmy and I,
Yeah.
which is, a couple hours after I go to bed usually." It's like
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
different thing.
Luckily, I think we looked probably the most awake, college students at 8:30 in the morning. I mean, I think a college student 8:30 in the morning might as well be like 4 a.m.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I remember I had
Um,
an art history class at 8 a.m. and a dark
yeah.
theater, and that was a killer combination for
One of
trying.
my favorite, yeah, one of my that's awful. One of my favorite Lewis Black jokes is he goes, an 8 a.m. class. What are you doing? You trying to keep this stuff secret? You
Yeah,
trying to, yeah, are you trying to get people not to learn?
the
Yeah.
most difficult class I had going to the university I went to was I took a 101 art history class, intro to art history at 8 a.m. And, dark room. My instructor sounded like Ben Stein, and it was just this monotone delivery of a lot of things I wasn't very interested in until they got to the painting part.
Yeah.
Until, and dates and time, mostly dates and times of, really basic stuff about all this artwork that you had to remember. And I couldn't help it. And it was in a lecture hall. It was a huge class. Everybody fell asleep. I mean, why, again, I know why I did it. It was my first semester at college. I got smarter after that.
There's
Uh,
nothing worse than falling asleep while you're trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
It's that's misery to me.
I remember watching somebody do the heavy head nod, and then one
Yeah.
point they had nodded so hard their head actually hit the desk.
Oh,
All were like watching it like happen, and it was Oh, it was
You
so
were,
loud.
were you in my class? Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Hey, just a quick, I wanted to talk about what I was doing. I'm working on masonite that I've treated. Just masonite that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. Comes in 4x8 sheets. You can have it cut down into whatever sizes you want. Um, I prepare it, I seal it with exterior house paint, and then I just did a little graphite drawing on top of it. And what I was doing, what looks like I was painting with nothing, it's real thin paint. That's linseed oil. Linseed oil and just a small amount of paint. Um, it's called oiling your canvas or your surface, your substrate, and it makes it really slick or wet. And I intend to kind of work wet into this. And um it it's just a really fun, very economical way to start work, and it's quite archival.
Yeah, looks great. A great face there.
Well, it's a wonderful photograph.
It really is. And she has an amazing hat on. I love a good hat.
Going back to the talk we had with Adam, and I know he'll be on probably pretty soon, but one thing I will say is John and I were talking earlier this year, and I think we're gonna book a few of these at different schools. And so if you're a teacher or if you're in a class where you want us to drop in, shoot us an email. We'll try to book it if we can. It's hello@Visual Arts Passage. So Cassandra, is
Hmm.
the start of the year crazy busy, or do you have a bit of a breather? Or is it things picking up now that it's February?
It's so busy.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it
Um,
ever slow down for you?
no. Like maybe
Okay.
December got a little slow once all the shows opened. But then it was just like busy because of life outside of work. But yeah, I'm in two group shows. One opens tomorrow, another one opens next week. And I did a little piece for a Virginia wildlife competition that I need to drop off. And then I have a solo show I'm getting ready for end of April. So it's just like lots of things, lots of plates. And then I took on an illustration job for a beer label, so I got to do that too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna point out that another thing in Cassandra's life, which I'm sure a lot of people have questions about. But Cassandra is the owner of some twins.
Yep.
The owner.
I own them.
Yeah.
They 5 or 6? How old are they?
They turned 7 in December.
Oh, okay. Well, again, we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so life is definitely a juggle. And my girls, they get used to the fact that when they get off the bus, there's some days we have to drive out to the faraway UPS because they're the ones that take like the insurance. So they get to just pick their favorite music while we go drive art out, which happens a lot.
That's great. It was that's so much fun that, from the other side, Cassandra, I mean, you saw the relationship I had with my father, once I was an adult. But as a child, I was around, I got to tag along to a lot of really cool things. And even if they didn't seem that cool at the time, I think back about it and so that was pretty fun. It's like uh, being exposed to a bunch of artists, a bunch of even just dealing with some of the day-to-day in his career. There was, photo shoots, um, even as you were saying, the delivery of artwork, shipping the artwork, moving it. You'll laugh about this, Cassandra. We lived 55 miles outside of New York City. And the commuter train went within about a mile of our home. It had a station called the Branchville Station, a little town in Reading, Connecticut that I grew up in. And he used to pay the conductor to give them $20 and they would deliver his paintings for him in New York.
I love that so much.
Is that the coolest thing?
It is.
Talk about like, romantic, you know? I think that, I remember going down to him and going down to the station and watching him, hand off his painting to the conductor. And the funniest thing that happened one day, we had one of the dogs we had was an Airedale, and my dad handed the package to them, and the dog jumped on the train as it left.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was running around the train, and about 100 yards down, as we're watching, what can you do? You thinking about your dog going to New York City. The train had already left the station. About 100 yards away, as it got further down the tracks, you see this dog just go flying off the train. The conductor threw it off the train.
Wow.
Yeah, get off my train.
I mean, you can't make that stuff up. That's pretty.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative to the fact that my kids are kind of game for it all. Like if I have to go drop off cards at a shop that sells my stuff, like they come with me. So everybody's kind of used to my kids. If we go by the gallery to drop off work, typically my kids are with me. So everyone knows Maven and Verity, and they're really lovely about always just being so nice and including them in being there. Like they don't pretend like they're not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes it special.
Yeah, that is nice.
I'm still picturing a dog getting thrown off a train.
So it was, a fairly rural area. I mean, it wasn't, there wasn't any buildings or anything there. It was, trees and bushes.
Yeah, that was back when dogs were dogs.
That's right. These
Yeah.
dogs weren't sissies.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of purse dogs. Yeah. Which that's my favorite thing when I'm in New York is because on the subway you can have a dog if it fits in your bag. And so
Yes.
people have these massive bags with like 4 leg holes cut in them. Crazy. So they'll be carrying like an 80-pound lab on the subway.
Yeah, I saw like somebody do that with like a Labradoodle.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, how to do? Is my audio working?
Yeah, it's
Oh, good.
It's great. It's good to have you. It's been forever since we've
I
seen
know.
you.
I haven't seen you guys in ages. I mean, it's almost 12 hours.
No, we were talking about how much fun we had this morning in your class. That was great.
I was so happy to have you.
It's always nice to be around a bunch of students, and they all seem pretty excited, and that says a lot when it's an 8 a.m. class.
I know.
It's inspiring.
They're a bunch of troopers.
Yeah.
I teach another 8 a.m. class tomorrow with some of the same people in it, but that class is 6 hours long.
Oh wow. As an educator, do you have tricks of the trade to engage your students for the morning class?
I have a long commute to get there, which sort of works in my favor because by the time I get there, I've had time to wake up and I've had like 20 ounces of coffee and I'm just dying to do something other than drive.
Right.
Well, how long is the commute considering the class starts pretty early?
It's about an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like a different city.
It's
That's a road trip.
yeah, right. I mean, I start off outside of New York and I end up in apple orchards.
Wow.
So when John was talking about, going to a liberal arts college in Kansas, I think my students actually all really related to it because there's like, it's not right in that town, but you only have to go about a town over for cow crossings to be a thing.
Really.
So how far outside of New York City is that?
I mean, outside of New York, they're about 2 hours outside, but they're only about a half hour outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it gets rural there pretty quickly. I was trying to explain, my wife had never spent any time in New Jersey, and I kept telling her how beautiful New Jersey was, parts of it.
Right.
And I couldn't convince her of that until I took her there.
Uh-huh.
And it really is gorgeous and how fast things change.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like a good trainer state. Like if you could live in New Jersey and decide where in the continental US you wanted to be based upon what part of New Jersey spoke to you.
Yeah.
Like even because even like weather things will change radically. Like my parents live a half hour west of me, and they typically get 3 to 6 inches more snow than we do when it snows.
But you're closer to the water.
Yeah.
Yep. It was, when I was growing up, it was such a big deal missing, getting school, snow day at school. And um, the weather was always, right on the edge. I don't know how far linear, we were probably 18 to 20 miles from the ocean, a direct line. But it was always about the temperature. Is it going to be cold enough? And you would sometimes have massive snows, and other times it would just rain on you. And it was always that game.
Mhm.
Is it going to be cold enough?
Right. It's like you just watch for that magical 32 to happen.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy is they're talking about, at least for schools around here, about doing away with snow days because you can have virtual days now. So they can just
Silly.
I know
do
they've
virtual school.
been pushing that here too. Actually, they at the college they pushed that. So I wound up, the first week of classes actually got snowed out, but we were encouraged to have our classes virtually.
Yeah.
It does leave out the fact that, when you're home, you do still have to shovel out your home. Like just because you don't have to go to work
Yeah.
doesn't like the reason they, there's still like snow stuff that has to be done.
I think it's too disruptive. It's not that one is better than the other, because there are certain benefits to distance learning. John and I are very familiar with all of those benefits. We leverage all of them and max them out. But I think where it becomes difficult is when there is unpredictable shifting back and forth, and then also requiring people that are not like properly accommodated for it.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. Because man, my wife's teaches second grade. I've gotten really well acquainted with this debate.
Well, I feel like
And
for
it's so
elementary
silly.
school, it's not going to be successful where you have.
No, it's absurd.
It's
It's
just I don't
absurd.
see my kids on a
Yeah.
snowy day being like, yeah, let me focus on learning.
Also like snow days, I was, because you go to any schools like Facebook page, which it's like Facebook groups, and
Hmm.
you hear about, I mean, the second there's even a rumor that there's going to be a snow day, they get like lit up, right? With,
Mhm.
and it's all like, there's always two sides. It's always just like, just call it, just call it, let them stay home, give them the snow day. And then the other side's like, I've got work. Come on, like, this is fine, right? But then I think the worst thing you could do is make a parent stay home, but then also monitor if their kid is taking a class.
Yes.
Because when
Yeah.
I had snow days, they were just like, my parents were like, here's a sled. We will
Right.
see you later. you know? Yeah. No. Yeah.
Which is really what it should be. I mean, like when else do you learn the ethics of sledding?
Yeah. And also there aren't that many of them.
Yeah.
There just aren't enough snow days anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not
right.
like it's a crisis.
Like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that nature bestowed you with a holiday. It's
Yeah.
that's weird.
I love going out in bad weather. It's maybe one of my favorite things.
I just really enjoy bad weather. I think it's fun. When it snows, I want to bake a ton. If it's like lots of rain, I want to make soup. Like I just love it all.
But
Uh,
I would say I'm like storm chaser. Like I want to be in the worst of it. I want to see it.
I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know, one of my fondest weather memories was actually being out in, you know, in Liberty, Missouri for the Illustration Academy as like what was ultimately going to be a tornado blowing in, but we just it was like watching TV where the sky was just working on it all day.
Hmm.
Just, you know, we just kind of hung around outside watching lightning go from like one side of the sky all the way to the other, just kind of
Yeah,
trickling
those are fun.
across and going, hey, I wonder when that's getting to us.
Yep. We were such good protectors. Yeah, go out and watch it. Knock yourself out. We were all over it. Yeah, Adam, you'll get a kick out of this. It's like one of my favorite tasks in my life. And I know this sounds really silly and totally Dale's in with me on this, but I love to plow my driveway. I I have a garden tractor. I guess that's the size of tractor. They determine how big it is. It's way more than a lawnmower, but I have a snowplow set up on it, and I love to plow my driveway. And that comes from snow days when I was a kid. I mean, that's what I did. We lived out in the country, and I plowed my driveway and our neighbors' driveways, and I just love doing that stuff.
I live in the house that my dad grew up in, and when I moved into it, the neighbors was the same old couple that lived there when my dad's family moved in. And so they were like in their 90s, and they would have like wild stories about my dad. And one of them, Barbara was telling me that my dad was his his dad was not around, and my grandma was not. My dad was he was on his own, and he was given one task. He had to shovel the driveway, and it was an ice storm,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they said they drove by, and the entire driveway had been set on fire by my dad. He said he poured gas. He just poured gas over the whole driveway and was just like, I'll burn the ice off. Yeah. He didn't, and I was like, did it work? And they're like, no, it didn't work. It was just a terrifying moment for everyone. Yeah. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, that story, knowing that it's related to your dad, does not shock me.
I always wonder about, you know, that's like how does I'm sure the answer is going to be something like very effectively, but my question in my head still is always like, if you grow up being the person who lights your driveway on fire, how do you then grow up to discipline your own children?
Oh,
Where do you draw the line on what is, you know, behavior that needs to be nipped in the bud and
well, the answer for my dad was there was no discipline.
oh
But it is a good question nonetheless. Yeah.
there wasn't discipline, there were just rules. And there were unspoken rules that you knew not to cross.
Yeah.
That's how it was in my family anyway.
Well, we are at the end of our first pose, so we are moving on. And please post your work to Instagram. Um, I think I think the winner is Hive Goat. So please post it to Instagram and tag us because we want to see the work at the end of the night. So use @Visual Arts Passage, hashtag Drawing Hive, and hashtag Hive Goats. I'm gonna grab those and I'm gonna drop them in the chat. Please post now. Don't wait till the end. If you want to get it seen, you should post it now.
So do people here, especially the ones who regularly do portrait, do you have like an easier time or a harder time drawing, say, like people you love, like whether real people, people or historical people, like I really love Bonnard, and I think as a result, there's almost like a block that sort of happens in trying to get his likeness.
Well, it's tough with artists because what happens to me, I start thinking about and second guessing myself and like, how would they do this?
Right.
And that comes into play when drawing artists for me. I like it. I like to draw people that I know, that I know something about.
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes for me it goes really well and sometimes it goes really wrong, but I feel more of a failure when I know them and it goes wrong.
Right.
Like you have to apologize to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to do that to
Like I really didn't get that. Sorry about that.
you.
Yeah, that's relatable. I totally get that.
Oh, Adam, that's looking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's a pretty young Mary Cassatt right there. It's beautiful drawing, Adam.
Thanks.
That's one of the things that I got a kick out of reading, and I knew it in his work. And it kind of reminds me the personality of Bonnard. They said he had a really great sense of humor, and things he would do, things he would include in a painting, really interesting, like a cat, looking at itself in the mirror, or some things that weren't very common at the time. And I kind of think of like Josh George has that same kind of personality. He said he was real low key, but had a really phenomenal sense of humor and a wit about some of the things that he painted.
Yeah, one of the things I love about Bonnard is his compositions are they lock you into such like your eye into such like a this leads to this leads to this leads to this. And I remember going to a show at the Met of late Bonnard paintings, and it's like I've got at least two like gigantic books of Bonnard, and so there might have been maybe one painting in there that I wasn't familiar with already, but as a result, there were paintings I'd seen 1,000 times, I thought, and then suddenly I'd noticed there was a dog in one of them.
Yeah.
And the dog is he's just in this place that you can even try to look at him, but there's all these other directionals that just yank you away from him.
Yeah, what's interesting, like some of the dogs and cats he put in there, it's like there was no sense of scale or perspective to them.
Right.
He would just throw them in, it's like, oh, that would be fun. A lot of his design came from his interest in Hokusai, Japanese printmaker. And he was hugely influenced by that composition. Like Bonnard's an interesting character himself. I was like, he had a law degree, believe it or not. He went to law school. He's from a fairly affluent family. His father was a minister in the military department in France, and very pretty well off, and wanted him to go to law school real badly, and he did. He never passed what, I don't know what it was called in France, but it would be the
bar.
Our terms, it would be the bar. So you could just think about it. It's like he wanted to be an artist so bad, and of course he didn't pass the bar.
I as you said that, I was picturing this sense of like, his father wanted him to be a lawyer so badly, and that's how he was.
Yeah. And so
I think Sonny Boy Williamson once said that about like, he said like, oh, these boys from England want to play the blues so bad, and that's how they play them.
Well, I laugh. I think of a funny story, Josh, him telling me about growing up, and saying his parents were always like, and I've met his parents a couple of times at shows, and his parents were like, Josh, you should go outside and play. No, Josh, you need to go out and do something. You should get on, you should play soccer. You should get on a sports team. They were always trying to convince him to do something he wasn't interested in. And he said, every time I'd get in trouble, they'd send me to my room. And he goes, and that's exactly where I wanted to be. He said, I remember when I was old enough to realize that. I'm like, okay, well, if I just do this, I'm going to my room. They're happy, I'm happy. I thought that was pretty cute.
I'm worried my kids will figure that out.
Well, don't worry about it, because it's going to happen. Kids figure everything out.
I was gonna say
My oldest son was almost unpunishable. Like you wherever you sent him for a timeout, there would be something interesting in it. Like it would be like the wood grain or a dust bunny. Or
Yes. That's the stuff.
I think the scariest kid is a kid that understands the actual scope of power. Like they
My
know
oldest
where it,
son was that way.
what's that?
My oldest son was that way. He understood. He had a value system of like, yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, and like
he would make the decision before he knew he was going to get in trouble if he got caught, and he would make that decision.
Yeah,
and he would decide if this is worth it or not.
having a full understanding of the the scope of Fallout. I didn't. My thing was always, if this goes south, this is the end of everything.
Yeah.
See, I think my mom as a kid had a sense of that scope, and as a result, she was always a step ahead of you as a kid.
I think that having that scope and understanding that like what other people are capable of imposing on you or controlling, I think it's a very valuable skill to have.
Oh,
as an
it's so
adult.
smart. It's so tough as a parent, though.
Now,
Yeah,
my mom was sort of like, Stalin escaped from the gulag so many times, and then he made gulags that you couldn't escape from as a result.
oh,
So she like
That's
she was
taking
so
it to
far
a
ahead
whole
of what she
level.
thought you were gonna get.
Yeah.
Well, my father would always describe me, like in front of me, I would hear him say, he said, John was such a good kid. He was such a good boy. Well, it's because my father was oblivious. I mean, he never paid it. I mean, you could get away with anything in our household. You could do anything. My sisters realized that. I realized it. It's like they were very hands off. They were great parents, but
I think that's really good.
they were very hands off.
Yeah.
I remember my father saying something to me at one point. Said, it's like 2 a.m. You're just coming home. I was in high school. And he was still up, he was working. And I told him, I'm sorry, I thought I was going to get punished. He goes, well, yeah, well, next time just call me, okay?
Man,
That was
I
like
remember
the
when I was in
extent
high
of my
school.
punishment as a child.
I remember when I was in high school, I was like 10 minutes late for curfew, and I had this trip that I was going on, and it got canceled because of it. It's like, you can't go.
Whoa.
You blew your curfew. If you don't take curfew seriously, how can we trust you? And then I remember when I was in college and I came home and coming downstairs early in the morning, and my dad just going, my little brother was named Tony. My dad just went, did Tony come home last night? It's like, what?
Whole different world with
Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Tony had it pretty sweet. So
I was also the youngest too, so
yeah, that makes sense.
it made a difference. They had, and my not that it should matter, but that I had two older sisters, and they seemed to be more careful about them than they were me. And it's like, okay, just, check in with us every once in a while.
I think that having a lot of slack lends to being a creative person really well.
Oh yeah. You figure things out yourself.
Yeah.
You experiment and try things that, so it's like, if you survive it, you're going to be better for it.
You probably make mistakes, more mistakes, which is good. Get accustomed to things going wrong. You know?
You learn a lot from failing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've told you guys, like, one of the opening lectures I give to students is to sort of like, they're like, no, I'm someone who learns from my mistakes, and I don't mean that from like that self-righteous way people do that. I mean, like, I literally only learn from my mistakes. If I
Yeah.
haven't messed something up yet, I haven't learned anything about it yet.
Yeah.
Like, I have to put something together wrong before I put it together right. That's just how it works out.
Timmy, I hate to tell you this, but I started painting and I lost focus on what I'm supposed to be doing in here.
I was gonna ask you again, but I didn't want. I figured John knows what he's doing.
So what I'm going to do is,
Yeah, are we launching into the
yeah, we're
education
going to jump
segment?
into, we've been talking
Let's
about Bernard. We'll just keep talking about
Yeah,
Bernard.
there's a
let's do
special
it.
song. I want to hear the special song.
I've never done the song while someone else is sharing. So if it doesn't work, we'll figure something out for next week. But I think it's gonna work. So John, whenever
Well, you
you're
want to
ready.
do the song first and then I'll share.
No, you share. No,
Okay.
I'm saying I think I might have to share to share audio. But yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody ready? Let's see what happens.
That's impressive.
What?
Nothing.
Nothing, you didn't hear anything. Oh man.
The sound of silence.
It sounded really great on my end.
Well, you got to experience.
Yeah, it went something like this. Do 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 do.
Well, thank you for doing that. That helps.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure it out.
That gives me something to frame it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So we already started talking about Mr. Bernard. This is how I kind of figured Bernard out and started looking at his work. My two favorite, obviously one of my father and Bernie Fuchs, two of my biggest influences anyway. If you would have asked either one of them who was your biggest influence, they both would have told you Pierre Bonnard. And he was a representational drawing, through observation, a lot of latitude with what he did and how he saw things. There was a really great emotional content to it. He was an absolutely phenomenal colorist. And he followed the Impressionist. He was, considered at the beginning, considered a post-impressionist. A term that I'd never heard before. He was, because of all of the very intimate paintings he did of people, doing daily things in their household, still lifes, interiors. He was called an intimist, which I thought was interesting. I never
Heard that before.
No, I hadn't either. But he was certainly the bridge between, and I heard an interview with Diebenkorn talk about that. He was one of the bridges between the Impressionists and the Modernists. And I think that's a really good description of what he was and what he did as an artist. Absolutely phenomenal. These are all self-portraits. Relates to a lot of what we're doing in here tonight. Really fun stuff.
That nose.
Yeah, the boxer.
He was wildly facilitated and chose to use it when he wanted to. But look at that.
Oh, those.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just like, in my mind, it doesn't get any better than that. I just absolutely just think these are just marvelous paintings. Such a fantastic, I mean, they're painting such a fantastic interpretation. Man, just gorgeous.
Mhm.
He was from France, lived his life in France, moved to the south of France during the First World War, and then pretty much spent the rest of it. I mean, he was back and forth from there to Paris later on, but ended up spending the end of his life on the Mediterranean in the south of France. Absolutely adore these paintings. There's a dog for you.
There it
Oh,
is.
yeah. I love his patterning too.
Yeah. These are paintings of his wife. It's, I think her name was Martha. Gorgeous stuff.
Mhm.
Wonderful interpretations. And you can see that these paintings that are about to show you, if you have an understand, I can see Bernie Fuchs in that piece.
Yeah.
That's so much about his point of view of how he worked, simplified things. My father too.
Mm. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so good. His paint is so interesting too. It's like how much he played with the transparency and viscosity and opacity of it. There was
Right. When you see him in person, it's like a whole different thing. It's like there's dimension, there's depth to it that you don't see in the prints. What an interpretation, organization of a landscape.
Hmm.
But you can see the influence, for you think about the Bay Area figurative painters, the abstract expressionists, somebody like Diebenkorn. You can see that in these pieces. You can see the connection to them, the influence, especially the one on the left in this piece.
Yeah. Wow.
Something to get excited about. That might be my favorite painting of his.
Yeah.
I love the interior, exterior, the temperature shift of the warm interior and the cool exterior. He did that a lot. Such a beautiful way to break up space that way. There's the cat down in the bottom. Extraordinary. Anyway, that's my lesson for today. Just drool all over these things. Think about, as I'm thinking about painters that I like that were influenced by him, and a lot of them were. So Timmy, I'll stop sharing and we'll go back and see the cameras.
When do you think, for you, did Bernard really start to speak to you, John?
From the very beginning. I had the opportunity when I was 19 years old to go and spend 5 weeks in Paris at the Illustrator's Workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go to the d'Orsay and to the Louvre and got to see quite a few Bonnard originals. And, I was listening to artists talk about other artists, and, he was kind of somebody everybody was talking to about. Not sure I completely understood it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was, I think the one smart thing I did when I was learning, I did a lot of dumb things, but the one smart thing that I did was I looked at, okay, so Bernie Fuchs is supposed to be like one of the greats. And so when he tells me something, when he talks about something, I'm going to take it that it's true. And so if Bernie Fuchs says this guy's good, I'm going to pay attention to that. And again, and I think and just educationally, I started thinking that's a really good thing. And I think that art instructors, people that teach art, that should be a big part of it, is exposing you to the right artists. Putting, and certain artists have a lot more to offer educationally than other artists do. Not saying one's better than the other, but how somebody uses composition, or somebody uses their drawing facility or sees things in a unique way. Pointing out just as certain writers would be important to understand, as far as learning literature, that there's some writers are better to study than others.
Yeah.
And it's all what your interests are too. I mean, it's like, if you're into, say you want to be a comic artist, and you definitely want to be exposed to people that are great drawers, and then have good visual storytellers. So those would be the right ones to look at. And I think it's, educationally, I think it's important for instructors to kind of put you in the right space, in the room with the right people. I guess that's be a good analogy. So this weekend, we have guest speakers coming into our classroom. I have wonderful illustrator, contemporary, editorial, and does institutional work, also advertising work. Scott Bacall is coming in to speak to our students this Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have this guy, this title called Director of Visual Development at Marvel Studios, Andy Park. He's coming in on Sunday to talk to our students, do presentation to them.
Pretty big weekend.
Pretty
Yeah.
stacked. Pretty stacked.
Yeah. That'll be a fun one. So, John, as far as historical illustrators that you have not met, which ones do you think have influenced you the most as or have helped you grow the most as an artist?
Well, it wouldn't be all illustrators. Painters, I was really influenced when I started painting and started learning things by Andrew Wyeth. I liked Andrew Wyeth a lot. I could understand it, and I didn't, didn't even realize how good it was, and I gravitated towards it. Let me think. Someone that just blew my mind when I first saw his work, and I was actually kind of on the other end of illustrating at that time. I discovered about Cassandra was with me. We were at the Brandywine Museum, And as we're standing in the bookstore, Gary Kelly leans over to me and goes, "Hey, do you know this artist? Somebody I've been looking at a lot recently." It was Edwin Dickinson.
Oh, yeah.
And I became a huge Edwin Dickinson fan as soon as I saw that. Again, Gary Kelly said it, so it's got to be true, right?
Right?
Right. Yeah. Another one that Gary turned me on to was Max Beckmann, the painter, German expressionist. And Max Beckmann was spectacular, his poster work and just fantastic, really dynamic painting. In fact, our last pose tonight, Nathan Oliveria got to study with Max Beckmann. Diebenkorn had a lot of influence on me. That group of painters, the Bay Area figurative painters, Elmer Bischel, Selden Guile, people I looked at, it's like, it was, the illustration world was, at least what I was doing, there were a lot of rules. There were a lot of things I had to be able to accomplish with my work. And then there was a very freeing thing. I had to think differently to paint. And looking at somebody like Selden Guile, who was a painter, opened doors for me, or opened a way of seeing and thinking that I wasn't capable of understanding before that.
Selden Giles, so he's exciting.
Yeah. Not as well known as a lot of those other guys as far.
Now, wasn't it like he was of this kind of school thought that like they were in like the 20s and like really ahead of their time.
Oh yeah.
And so their art really didn't go too far past the Bay Area. But if you were then an artist in the 50s interested in figuration coming out of expressionism, like Selden Guile and his colleagues were like, they were the art that was hanging in the offices at blanking out on the name of the school that they were all affiliated with.
California College of Arts and Crafts.
Yes, yeah.
And they all taught, which was really, really interesting. A good friend and a great painter, Francis Livingston, has taught with me a lot in the past, and always attended the Illustration Academy. His wife had classes with Oliveria.
Wow.
And he lived to 2010, I believe.
So everybody, we're moving on to our third and final and longest pose. It's about 40 minutes. So get started on that. Please post your work. I'm gonna grab the handles for it, but it's hashtag drawing hive, hashtag hive goats, and at visual arts passage. Please share it with us. We're gonna check it out at the end of the hour, and it's my favorite part. So please don't skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, make Timmy happy. Don't skip
Yeah.
it.
You don't want to see me sad.
Oh,
You know what? This is gonna make the audience disappointed, but all of the panelists happy. Or not all. Adam and John will appreciate it. This is somebody sent this to me for Action News. I didn't think it was newsworthy.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was newsworthy. However, the New York Times thought it was newsworthy.
Right.
But it's Jason Kelsey as the
Bacchus.
yeah, Feast of Bacchus. Yeah. And
That's fantastic.
yeah, and I thought it was great. Jason, for our non-sports fans, Jason Kelsey was at the Chiefs game supporting his brother last week, and I thought that was hilarious. I don't know what's funnier, the photo or the fact that the New York Times was like, yeah, this is
It's art.
this is news.
I like it. I'll take it.
But it's actually a really fun Twitter handle. It's called Art But Make It Sports. And it's just a guy that I'm assuming it's a guy like it's just a massive sports fan and art enthusiast who just finds weird coincidences like that.
I
Pretty
love
fun.
that.
Yeah.
If we do have a Super Bowl like theme night, can we add that to the list to paint or draw? That one?
That would be good. Get the
Sure.
Celtics. We'll be biased. Yeah,
'Cause
I
I'm not
do-
gonna lie, that's just also a very fun pose.
Yeah.
it is. I do feel like everybody's been like like everybody tuning in has been really supportive and the community's growing. And I'm like I'm kind of icy towards like a Super Bowl episode. like like we might betray our listeners.
Do Super Bowl tangential.
Yeah.
Like a couple performers from past halftime shows, and then Bacchus.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I think we'd
Bacchus.
make a killing if we did Puppy Bowl.
You know I'm game. You
Yeah.
know I'm game.
Yeah, I think the Puppy Bowl would go over pretty well.
I'm thinking about Adam, who wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? I can't think of his
Hunter S.
Hunter.
Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson. In the story in the book where he was sent to New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl, and he hired the staff at the hotel to play out the game in his room. It just that's Super Bowl tangent, right? Or adjacent.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books. Book that I read when I was a freshman in college. And I remember my roommate saying, "What do you do?" It's like Friday night. I said, "No, I'm just going to stay in. I started this book this afternoon. It's killing me." So I actually stayed home on Friday night to read that book.
I love it when books do that. Those are the best.
Yeah. That wasn't always the case, by the way.
On the topic of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, we've got Dale Stefanos here.
Yay, Dale.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a entrance. Thank you.
Hi, Dale.
Hey,
Well, Dale, you know, I think for a while you had Hunter S. Thompson as your profile pic on Instagram, and I thought it was a photo of you.
yeah, I still have it as my
One on the beach?
yeah. It looks like me, except if you really look, he's short.
That's amazing.
But that's cool.
Like, I look as cool as him, but I'm taller. Oh, and I have hair. You're like, oh, what?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
Actually, you're right. That's not a bad deal. I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine Hunter S. Thompson running. Well, maybe with enough drugs, he might. But running a sub 3-minute marathon.
Oh, he probably did it on accident.
I know.
Yeah.
Great, great reference tonight, Adam. That looks all of you guys. Wow, this looks fantastic.
I had to paint her hat,
Yeah,
right?
I need to get to her.
this feels like a job for ink, doesn't it?
Yeah. I got halfway through this one and I was like, yeah, no, ink.
For me, the whole part of this, I'm still laying in my background. It's like in my shape of the dark. It's like that's everything to this painting. Portrait's a piece of cake if you get all the other stuff right.
All right, what did I miss? Any Drawing Hive drama?
Oh, yeah.
Always.
We're actually recovering from a huge argument that you missed.
We had this moment where the more you know sound couldn't play. So we're struggling.
No, you didn't miss. Well, you missed the educational segment. So you'll have to watch it on YouTube, Dale.
I have watched it on YouTube, you know.
Have you really? Actually,
Yeah.
I saw you dropped a comment, which thank you. That was very
Sorry
nice.
about that, Dale. I apologize already. Um, Dale, all I did tonight was give a little bit of a more in-depth look at Pierre Bernard. Talk,
Well,
showed a bunch of his images and talk about how influential he was. And he was really influential to a lot of the illustrators I looked at.
yeah. Well, your father loved him, didn't
And my father and Bernie were just huge fans of him. They would have
he? Your
been
father actually
first
turned-
choice, probably, for a long period in their lives, I think, as artists they were scoping out.
Yeah.
I have a
well,
question. Go ahead, Dale.
No, I was just going to say your father's was the first one who ever kind of mentioned him, you know, when I was around, and I didn't really like Bernard. I kind of dismissed him because it wasn't flashy, kind of the '80s hair metal guitar solo equivalent of painting. And that kind of introduced me to that sort of work, and I think it's wonderful.
So something I was wondering about, and I'm trying to think of the most clear way of asking this because I know all of these individuals are from different eras. But if you look at like Cassatt, for example, I I know that she had muses, she had artists that she studied or looked up to, but how many artists do you think she truly actually did have access to learn from as far as to be able to study or like find in a library? Just
Well,
assuming that like culturally at that time there were probably whole regions of the world that were completely not visible as well.
yeah.
Does that
Well,
make sense?
Mary Cassatt was from Pennsylvania,
Uh-huh.
from a wealthy family that travel was a big part of their lives.
Huh.
She got into the is it the Philadelphia Academy, I think, went at a very
Okay.
young age, like 15, and was very disappointed how they treated women at the academy there.
Uh-huh.
So she convinced her parents didn't really buy into it, but she traveled to Europe and she studied with Jerome.
Wow.
And had a lot of art accessible to museums and galleries and things because she had the resources to do it. Um,
Wow.
and she obviously befriended Degas and all kinds of
Oh, this is like classic Malcolm Gladwell outliers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
She's a tough cookie too. Like
Yeah,
anybody that tried to pull one over on her, she would
really.
put them in their place. Yeah. So she's
Like, are
kind of
there
renowned
any
for that too.
anecdotes? Any anecdotes you remember or
Oh, I can't remember a specific one, but I remember just reading a story about somebody that did something that she found very objectionable, and she just tore them apart.
no afraid to fight? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she had a lot of respect, especially for a female at the time.
There's a certain level of like success that can be acquired or just like thriving, I think, amongst people who like almost enjoy a fight,
Yeah,
right? Like my dad loved a fight, like like a good problem, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when he was like happiest. Whereas that makes me like nauseous.
yeah, me too.
Well, what do you mean by fight, though?
Like a person that's creating conflict, any conflict, like conflict, like or a hurdle or but I think like an opponent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Loved an opponent.
And an adversary.
Yeah, an adversary. Yeah. He almost respected a good adversary. Like,
Sure, yeah, I can see
yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know, John, do you think you're like that?
Pardon me?
Do you think you were like that?
No.
Yeah,
Say
I don't
Johnson.
feel like, I mean,
I do everything I can to avoid conflict.
oh, yeah.
Me too.
I'm not like really frightened of it. I've had a lot of conflict, unfortunately. Um, just some things have happened where I've had to, you know, deal with things. And actually Timmy's father was very very helpful to me in that because he knew how to deal with conflict. And he guided me through some situations that I don't think I would have gotten through without him.
Good. Dale, you'll appreciate this. I'm sure a lot of people are tired of me telling my dad stories,
They're good
but
stories.
They're good stories.
this is a good one. You're gonna like it. My dad had a small printing company in Kansas City. This is back in the early mid 90s. And they hired a pressman. And pressmen, even in the 90s, were already very difficult to hire. It's a dying breed, and it's a very skilled position. And they hired this individual. They wanted to leave the company that they were working at. It was a competing printing company. And they just offered better terms, and the guy left. And then my dad, the following week, got a voicemail from the competitor. And it was just a rant of curse words and just chewing him out for, allegedly stealing an employee. Right. And so my dad's reaction to this, his solution was, and everybody who listens to the show will appreciate this because Santa, his best friend, the guy that plays Santa, got involved. He had Santa, his best friend that plays Santa every year. He had him go to the competitor's office and on his behalf challenge him to a duel.
Oh my God, that is fantastic.
Right. And they didn't really know. He just thought it was funny. And it's the 90s. So it's back when everybody was allowed to have fun still.
Yep.
and and it was just funny games. And so somebody was like, well, you got to do the duel. You guys should get some. And they're like, well, how do you do it? And they're like, get some paintball guns, duel it out. Right. And whoever wins gets the respect of the situation. And so it became a real duel. They got paintball guns and it became this thing. And everybody dressed up like it was like the turn of the century.
Oh my gosh.
And they
Horse
met
and
at
buggy, a rival.
horse and buggy. Everybody got involved and they met at a
No
park and they
way.
were all dressed in like coattails and like, just over the top. Like
That's
it got out of control.
that
And
is
it, and
awesome.
and the Kansas City Star reported on it. And I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to find the article because the Kansas City Star article is fantastic because the reporter opens the article by saying, when I heard about this story, I really didn't initially think it was funny because the subject matter, it's involves shooting and dueling, and I just didn't like the overall message of it. But she was just like, the creativity and the joy that these guys brought out of a massive conflict in their lives was actually really very sweet. And it was like a very fun, creative way to like bury conflict. And it's a very sweet article. It's at my mom's house. But
Is there a picture of them in their costumes?
yeah, there's photos. I mean, like hundreds of
That's what I
people.
really
Like
need to see.
it got out of control. Like hundreds of people showed up. And,
Oh
and
my
it was like
God.
it was at dawn. Like it was at like
Oh my God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So,
Wow.
that's how much my dad loved conflict.
did they end up, it sounds like they must have kind of bonded over this.
Um,
Not so
I've
much.
never like that would be kind of interesting to reach out to the man he dueled
Was
because I've never connected with him.
Timmy, I know him very well.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Did they bond over it?
Um, kind of. Your father hired his daughter, worked at his printing company for quite a while.
Oh,
Really?
Um, but the reason I
And
know
I was like 5 when this happened. So
That is
his,
right.
the individual, Timmy, you're going to really laugh about this. The individual is my finance guy. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to say his name, but
yeah, don't.
his kids went to school
Yeah.
with my kids, and his kids were very good friends with my daughter and oldest son and youngest son.
Wow. So the duel was kind of a complicated situation for you. You were kind of on both
I
sides.
didn't know him at
Oh.
the time very well at all. I got to know him. This was later, all of that.
Post-duel.
Yeah.
You have a post-duel friendship.
Yeah,
Post duel friendship. Yeah.
I do know that your dad, I mean, if it was a real deal, your dad would have been the one alive. He shot him like at 100 yards away. Just nailed him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the question. So who won the duel?
Oh,
I think it was debated, but I honestly, let's have John settle it. Because John, were you there?
I was not there,
Oh,
but
I wish
you're-
you just said you were.
no, I was not. I was
No.
not there.
Just lie. Yeah.
But
Was your dad there?
I'm sure.
No.
I'm sure. Mark
if it
there.
was at dawn, no.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Oh man, I wish I knew your father.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
Well, you missed the light the driveway on fire story, Dale.
What? Oh, come on.
Yeah, there was ice. There was ice.
That's how he dealt with it.
That's how you get rid of ice, Dale.
What did you do? Pour gas on the
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
oh my God.
That was his solution when he was a child to plow the driveway when his parents were gone.
Yeah.
So his technique was just like river of gasoline on the
And you know what's funny is you know how easy it would be to test it out in a really small area and learn, oh, this is not going to work.
why do that?
But he set the whole thing on fire.
That must have been spectacular.
I heard stories from my neighbors. They were like he was out of control, absolutely out of control.
That is really funny. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's funny. My mother is kind of like that. Not like there's no driveway on fire, but
Yeah.
that kind of not afraid to um
Big
to
gumption.
step in there. But no, there's no duel that I know of in my recent family background. That is fantastic.
I'll find the news article because it's very sweet because it's the person went in going, I hated that I got this story, and I learned to love it.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I just really love that they were like, let's make the outfits historically accurate, as historically accurate as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are people that go after my heart. I'm like, well done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, what this is. My dad would hate to hear this, but essentially, they were like at the forefront of LARPing.
Yes.
They were.
Total LARPer.
They legitimately settled a business conflict with LARPing.
They could make a business out of that, of helping people settle differences through LARPing this style.
Oh, I like that. Like
That's not a bad idea.
It could be a whole movie. It could be like
I
that.
could see
You're
that just becoming violent.
Right. Yeah, the insurance would be tough.
Well,
that
I
would
think
be those
somebody
those
needs to write a screenplay just about your dad's
Yeah.
story with the duel. I think that would make a super fun movie.
Yeah, you couldn't I don't yeah. The waivers would be
Midwest.
ironclad.
I don't think that works in the East Coast.
Yeah.
What, the duel?
Yeah, like Philadelphia, I think people really duel.
Yeah.
It's just a common occurrence.
Right.
It's not so cute. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I brought a paintball gun.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we weren't allowed to go because my mom didn't think it was funny either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She thought this is inappropriate.
Well, your father should have challenged her to a duel.
Yeah, that's the way he handled conflict.
Well,
Yeah.
Patty, you're next.
Yeah.
Yeah, your father's friend, like deliver the white gloves and slap him with the
That was
face?
exactly how it went down, Dale.
Yeah, they had a choice of weapons, like these weapons in cases.
It was
Oh my
it
God.
was absurd.
Yeah.
He
That's
was
funny.
he loved theater and he didn't even know it.
Right. Yeah, he was a theater nerd and he had no idea. He thought he was
Yeah.
manly.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the most, because he would have projects like that on the side that, because he had a job that did not he did not grow up saying my dream is to become a printer, right?
Yeah.
And he found things that made him really excited outside of his career and oftentimes found a way to weave them into his career. Do you all ever feel like you've done that with your lives? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that you're obviously you all are doing things that you're very passionate about that you made a specific choice to go towards, but do you try to weave these things that these I don't know, these things on the exterior that do you try to bring them into your work or
Oh
as a
gosh,
distraction?
the whole idea of landscape painting was the idea to travel and be able to experience being at the landscape. I mean, that was very, very exciting to me when I started.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
big.
I just turn everything into work.
Mm.
Like I need to know that when I do something I think is tangential, like within 3 times, I'm going to be like, all right, so where's this going?
I know I do. I just can't figure out how to explain how I do
Right.
it.
Um, I've kind of not concentrated, but I've always really liked having um, intense interests outside of what I do for a living because I tend to turn everything I do into, ooh, how good can I get at this? You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
when you introduce commerce into it, it starts getting
Actually, when I said it, like I turn everything into a job, I didn't even mean like I try to make it lucrative. I meant just like I start treating it like it's a job. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, Adam, you're an
I,
artist, so it goes without saying that it wouldn't
yeah, like
be lucrative. So
I just take right, but I just take every side thing just as seriously as my real thing.
yeah, same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
That's what when people that know me through my like musician life, find out that I'm an artist, I'm just like, oh, yeah, well, my day job is twice as impractical as what you know me doing.
Right.
I remember having a student tell me one day that they were going to, um, they told me they had a B plan if they didn't make it as an illustrator. And I asked what was that, and they said, "Well, I want to be a lead guitarist."
Well, are you
And
joking?
pardon me?
You're joking?
No, yeah, that was their plan.
Yeah. Well,
That was
I,
you.
I've told that story. This is my B plan. I was a lead guitarist, and my father's like, okay, what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, Dad, I'll be an artist, no problem. And this is when I was explaining to him why I wasn't going to college for free.
Okay, I've got some fun stuff.
All right.
Paintball duel settles Casey executives business spat.
Oh my God.
Two executives with a business dispute decided on an old fashioned way to settle it pistols at 24 paces. They took their positions, raised their weapons, and Trayvon fired the first shot, hitting his rival in the left side. Glow, maintaining his composure, squeezed the trigger of his gun with the shot sailing over Trayvon's shoulders. So that's kind of exciting. We got to settle that.
Wow.
It's on the public record. The assembled crowd included a couple of bank presidents, a Jackson County judge, and a former mayor.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Shook hands and gave each other a hug, and then they went to a charity breakfast. Pretty
I need
pretty
the
just
picture. I need the
normal.
picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they made a movie about that epic game of tag, this could totally be a movie.
Right. That is not the article that I was referring to, but I like that's from St. Louis. That was a St. Louis article.
So it had some legs.
Yeah, it had some legs, man. It made it, it went through the region, Dale. You know about that. Yeah. So Dale, we were talking earlier at the top of the hour, are things around February as an illustrator, do you feel that things start to pick up?
Yeah,
Or yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's this week was really busy.
that's great.
And it's funny, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And sure enough, early spring thaw, I guess, right?
I was just gonna ask because everybody, you've been doing this for a long time. Do you get used to the pause when things slow down? I feel like I'm always like, is this engine gonna start again? Have you gotten to where you can calm your, and refer to your historical data and say this happens every year?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be honest too, like teaching has taken a little bit of the edge off of that.
Yeah.
But it used to be really hair raising.
Mhm.
What's happening? What's happening? I think it
It,
might
it
be.
only takes me a month to suddenly go, can I still tell people that I'm an artist? I haven't done this in like a week.
No.
Well, you can tell, you have to, depending on the month, you can say, well, this month I'm a starving artist. Next month, I'm a very successful artist.
Right. That's the hardest thing, I think, that was the hardest thing for me, was learning how to deal with downtime and how to be productive and how to feel like I was still keeping the ball rolling. Yeah. We had that when I was starting out in this, making a living as an artist. Bill Parcells was coaching the Patriots. No, I'm not going to talk about football, but his mantra was you're the team the scoreboard says you are. And like I always really kind of, for some reason, I took that to heart. And in those slow times, I'd be like, oh shoot, that's who I am. And that's not a healthy position to take at all. So over the years, I've learned I've just learned that business ebbs and flows. That's all.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The catch is, especially painting, is when you have downtime, you got to keep working. Because as a painter, inventory is pretty much everything. And if you can still make inventory, it will come back to you later on. That's my theory anyway.
Well, so as a gallery artist, what's the feeling after, is there kind of like a gut check after, let's say you have a successful show and you've sold your stuff. you know, and there's not a lot of inventory, like you said. That must be kind of,
Daunting.
yeah. So success brings great anxiety, right?
Yeah, totally.
Is that what it's like?
Well,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like you
Oh.
have this great idea, you pull off a show and it goes really well, and then you have other
Nothing.
shows and you have to just get back up and be like, all right, so what's my next great idea for this?
Wow.
At least that's how it is for me. Like, okay, can I pull off this next thing? I made it through that and it went really well, but now I gotta do it again, but kind of different and figure out a new way to do what I'm doing.
It's
Right.
like that. It's like that in the illustration world too, though. It's like you bust your butt, you do something that's really good, and then it's like, okay, now what? What's the next thing?
Children's books are awful for that because it's like, not only is it like, 20 to 30 paintings that you're spending all this time on, but then there's no book for a year. Like, so you're done. You have to figure what else you're working on now, and the book you just finished won't be in stores for another 12 months. So it's like this crazy, like you're sort of like discombobulated trying to figure what you focus on next or what's coming down the pike. And you can't even like revel in this thing you just did because it doesn't exist yet.
Right.
Dale, it sounds like your stamps.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to tell people I do them anymore because God knows when they're going to come out.
Sure you do.
Yeah. I know. That's what I feel like. Really.
Yeah, he says he does all these stamps, but I've never seen them.
Gosh, so hard.
No, it's like the book I'm working on now. Like you're like, so what are you doing? And I'll be excited about it. They say, so where can I get it? I was like, well, summer of 25, it'll be out.
Right.
How old will your children be by then?
That's funny.
Like my neighbors have small children, and I'm kind of eyeing them and kind of even going, how old is the youngest one going to be when this book actually comes out? Do I know people who will come to my book signings, or will I have to find all new people with small children?
Yeah, it's going to be their kids.
Right.
Like, your grandkids are going to love these.
That's right.
How about the face on Francis Bacon, huh?
Yeah, what a puss. I mean, he's great because it's like, remember Taylor Swift week when we were talking about how hard it is to draw symmetrical people.
Yeah.
And Francis Bacon is like, hold my brandy.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. So I read this book and it was all about the daily schedule of artists, like writers and painters and what they did every day. And Francis Bacon like had his alcohol consumption like in his schedule.
That's fantastic. It's really funny.
And I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was one of those like, yeah, he's like devoted to just
He
making
was
sure
committed.
it gets done.
Well, he hung with Lucian Freud, and
Yeah.
they would, they would get up, late in the day, or in the morning, and then paint all day, and then basically just drink and gamble all night.
Yeah. But like they would stay up so late and he didn't sleep in that much. It was fascinating how much he didn't sleep so he could get, both sides of debauchery and painting done.
Make sure. Well, they had to. You talking about Lucian Freud, or both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting reading about him, and I knew quite a bit about him when I started looking him up yesterday. He and Lucian Freud had a falling out towards the end of his. I don't know who went first, but they would never tell anybody what it was over.
Oh, interesting.
Probably a gambling debt. That's my guess.
I think Lucian Freud had a falling out with almost
Everybody.
everybody.
Yeah. probably made fun of his housekeeping.
Contest of who had the messiest studio.
Yeah. At Francis Bacon's studio, sometimes I just look at it to make me go, this isn't that bad.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'll be like, okay,
And-
it could look worse in here.
Right. And then I remember that that's not something to aspire, that, you know, that's like having your dog breathe on you and go like, I smell pretty good today.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad day. That's funny.
I like that. That's something that's a topic of conversation around our house all the time.
Dogs.
I don't smell as bad as the dog.
Right.
That's really funny.
Oh, guys, I'm so glad to see like the commitment to Mary's hat. Like
Oh,
I feel like that one came up and all of us looked like we're like, wow, I really love Bonnard. And boy, Francis Bacon's got such a face. And then went, I gotta fit Mary's hat into my day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I knew I had to get to, I wanted to get to Bernard and I needed to get to Mary. Like that was my goal. I don't know how far I'll get on this, but
I just went kind of Tim Burton with the way I went at it.
you did. I like that. I like it a lot.
It's kind of odd.
I would love to know, like, right before this photo was taken, if she had gone like, be honest, does this look stupid?
Oh no, this was peak fashion. You got to do the crazy feathers.
is this too much?
Yeah, is it too much?
No.
Expression is kind of saying, my what?
It's a lot. It's well, it's a lot, Mary, but it's great.
A lot of birds went extinct in this era due to hats.
Right, you're right, they did.
My
True.
son, who is about to be an official environmental scientist, lectured me last night when he saw that photograph.
Really?
Uh-huh. Gave me the whole women's hat industry talk.
From back in the day or current, like a
Oh no, he knew the name of every bird that, you know, had been affected by it when it had happened.
really.
Yeah.
Is that true? A lot of birds like went extinct for
Oh
hats?
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Mary Cassatt has hat blood on her hands.
She would be
Oh,
so.
there was some crazy hats. I was looking at a picture of Sarah Bernhardt, and she had a hat with a taxidermy bat on it, like with its wings wide and everything.
No
Ah.
kidding.
And if you had a boa to go with that hat,
I gotta say, when I see feathers, I'm not saying that this is a correct opinion, but I just think of all feathers as dirty. Like,
Um,
I'm not saying
Because-
that's a
because that's
correct
why none
opinion.
of us were allowed to pick any feathers as kids.
Oh yeah, my mom always was like,
Yeah,
"There's
man.
diseases."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I guess why that's definitely what planted it.
Diseases? Is that what you said, Cassandra?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what my mother said too.
It's like a classic mom line, right?
Disease.
My mom would be like, they're dirty. And I'd be kind of like going, I'm a kid. Have you looked at me?
Yeah, you
I
have that
know.
logic. Yeah.
The birds are sitting there going like, don't go back for that feather. A child touched it and now it is dirty.
Yeah, but then the bird, they always would say, then the bird mom would be like, if you touch the bird, I'm not touching it again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was a mom conflict in all directions. Yeah. Everybody, we're gonna keep drawing for a little bit, but please start posting your work to Instagram. It's hashtag drawing hive, hashtag let me make sure I got it right. Hashtag hive goats and at visualized passage. Please start sharing now. Don't wait too long. Because we're gonna be over there in a minute.
Hive goats. I like that.
Yeah. I did get I got a couple emails about it because I said we're drawing the goats. Got a couple emails, but one was like, everybody uses goats too much. Stop using it. And I thought, I was just trying to come up with a subject line for an email.
Come on, man.
Wow.
Like he's up.
Yeah.
I feel safe saying that because I'm pretty sure the person that wrote it to me is not here.
So you got my email then.
Yeah, is that you? Yeah, I know you got a couple burner. The email was Dale Stefanos burner at Gmail. Is that you?
You'll never figure it out.com.
Yeah. That's a good domain.
You'll never.
If I didn't have anything else going on, I'd buy that domain.
Students ask me simple questions. I've gotten to the point where I start sending them to letmegooglethatforyou.com.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Is just Google, but as let me Google that for you.
Right. That's funny.
No, but isn't that where it sends a video to the person of you Googling it for them?
That's a good idea.
No, that's a real thing. I'll send
Yeah.
Dale, I'll do it. It's crushing when someone sends it to you.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally a video of somebody Googling the question you asked. It's great.
Surprised my kids haven't sent that to me.
It's
yet.
like a slow typing of it in.
It is shameful if you get it. It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Jimmy, I know I ask you a lot of inane questions, but don't ever do that to me.
I've never sent you a let me Google that for you.
I know you could daily if you wanted to, but I'm just
No, John actually doesn't use the term Google as a thing. He just says Timmy. I've got a Timmy. I'm gonna Timmy that today. No, that's not true. But it's kind of true.
John was looking out for you the other day. We in
Was
class.
he really?
I forget why, but I said, oh, we should all text Timmy asking for help right now. And John was like, please don't do that.
I'd have a heart attack if my Discord, because my Discord lights up when there's a problem. Yeah, that's a pretty good prank though, Dan.
we had half of our student body in the
That would
room.
have been awful.
I know.
Gosh.
Dale, you'd give him my personal phone number or something.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It is pretty funny. I can respect a good prank.
The next day.
I mean, the type of prank that I did when we were at Rockhurst University doing the academy, we had a key. Every room had a key. So like the dorm room keys essentially, right?
Yeah.
And it was my job when a student would check out to collect the key and reissue it to a new student. So I had like 100 keys, and Rockhurst is very strict about it. They're like, each key, if you lose it, we can't just make a new one. We have to change the lock. We have to do everything because that's like our policy. So if you lose a key, it's $150 fee. And so I had this backpack that was like, if we lose this backpack, the academy is a loss. like we're gonna be in the we're gonna be in the red if we lose this backpack. And it was like, even I had it on my back all the time, but if I set it down for a second, George would steal it
That is awesome.
and hide it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was infuriating.
So it's
I
like
would get
still
so
not
worked up.
funny. And
I'd be
how
like, it's not funny. It's not funny. I'd be like, no. Yeah, I'd be like, George, I'm having nightmares. The prank has gone too far. Yeah.
And what George hears when you're saying that is, yeah, that worked pretty well.
Works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or no, or it's it just hasn't. I haven't gone far enough because eventually it's going to get funny.
It's this combination of,
Yeah.
like, my job here is done and I've only just begun.
Yeah.
We're referring to George Pratt.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry. George Pratt, amazing comic book artist,
It's even greater when
illustrator.
like a luminary in the field whose work is so serious and heavy is the person who's stealing the backpack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember we were driving back to the academy and we passed a gas station. He goes, could I stop in and could we get some snacks? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And we came out and I was like, George, we could have gone to Costco. It was like he like stacked up for the week.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That is George Pratt right there.
Yeah.
Gotta have your snacks.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about art though is like there are these examples of people, some people are like their work and them are you're not surprised. Like when I met Chris Payne, it made sense, right?
That's so well put. I mean, it's like, oh, I get it now. You
Yeah.
know?
But when I met Marshall Arisman,
Oh my God, I know.
it didn't make any sense.
None at all.
Like the most gracious, kind, sweet, soft-spoken, elegant person.
That smile,
Yeah, yes. And
right?
there was nothing intimidating about him. Like if only if you were intimidated by how nice he was and how good his people skills were.
Yeah.
And how well he could paint.
Yeah. But it was so hard to connect how well he could paint to how well he just existed.
Yeah. One of the sweeter people who ever walked the planet.
Yeah. And so hearing, because I've only met George like, maybe once here. And so, George's work is just, it has this, everything he does has this like gravity to it. And
Grit.
then
Yeah.
the way he presents is himself is kind of lovable.
That's him. Little silly, right?
Yeah.
I told myself I was going to just paint smaller tonight. And I can't paint small very well. I don't know how to do it.
I feel like it would take you longer to paint it smaller just because you're used to working so big.
Well, you're watching it in action right now, and it's
What size is that piece?
18 inches tall.
And
Well-
that's not for you?
Yeah, it's the smallest I'll work.
Mm.
I make my drawing hive scale is completely in relation to how far away I can get this document cam and still reach my drawing. Like when I first started doing this with you guys, it was like going, wait a minute, this is really small. How am I going to do this? And I tried to get further away and realized I couldn't. So. But scale and comfort are such a funny thing when you're working too, right? Like we've got these default sizes that we need things to be in order to kind of feel as comfortable as we can doing them, because it's art. It's only ever so comfortable. But that like I think Norman, when Norman Rockwell talked about how the size his paintings were, he talked about them in relation to like the most comfortable size for him to paint a human head.
Right, yeah.
That like the main character of the picture was the point. And so if he felt good painting a human head at about like 8 inches tall, sometimes that meant an 18 by 24 painting, sometimes it meant a 6 foot tall painting.
Oh yeah, just depending on the composition.
Right. But you get in a situation where you start trying to work smaller or larger than you're used to, and it's like muscle memory doesn't want you to draw an eye that small.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have a fixed I don't really have
Like, are you good, like, big head, small head?
yeah.
There's not like a common place where you like you're just
No,
comfortable.
not really. Like I love drawing small, like in my sketchbook, because you can get, as soon as you start, well, for me, as soon as I start drawing small, I get much more liney, much more picky, finicky, like with a line. And then when you go big, you've got to cover all that area, so there's more arm involved. But
Yeah.
there's not, like, I guess I don't really have a comfort zone for either. It's just kind of,
Well, I've always, it's funny, I've always liked doing portraits. I always thought, and I did a lot of heads for the illustration world too, and it's like, I always try to do them like life size or close
yeah,
to.
that is kind of the best size, isn't it?
Yeah, just, it's what it's supposed to be, and it's how we see things.
Yeah.
And I just got comfortable doing that. And I learned to paint like portraits from this actually very good painter by the name of Daniel Green. And I took these summer painting classes with him. And you had to paint, you painted all, you had 2 3-hour painting sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And you were painting from a live model all the time. And you were told to work life size. So it just never went away for me, I guess. And then now I can't see.
Yeah, I love his work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was working on that, I was working on this like 34-foot mural that was based on a gouache painting I had done. So I did a gouache study for it, and then I was painting these like 4 by 10 foot panels that were going to be mounted to the space. And I kept saying to my wife as I'm painting these like heads that are now like, everyone's head is like 4 feet tall. I was saying to Denise, like, this is way too comfortable for the size of our house. Because we were working in as this separate space that had been loaned to me for the project. I was saying, don't let me get too comfortable with this, because we can't afford for me to paint like this.
Yeah.
Really,
Right. Oh wow, everybody's
Yeah,
looks
already
great.
seeing some pretty awesome stuff.
Oh my God.
Just gonna give it one more minute.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
I could see Peter in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations, Peter, of finishing off the month.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Good work, man. Very, very
Caricature month.
accomplished work there. Like, I was wondering how much time,
Did
how
30
many hours per day.
31 portraits, right?
Yeah.
All caricatures, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And not, no quickies either. Those were all really solid pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And not all probably that he wanted to draw, because it's a predetermined list.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, it was in. I saw Peter posted. Peter, how many of them did you not want to draw? Let us know.
He said he spent too much time on him.
No, well, I want to know how many of them he started and was like, man, I don't want to draw this person, but he did it anyway.
That's
Half of them, he
Half
said.
of them. Half of
that's
them.
work.
That's a lot.
That's what being a professional is, really.
Yeah.
So true.
Right. Finding yourself in whatever it is someone asked you to do.
Just drawing Rami Malek, even though you don't want to. I'm gonna get going. This looks awesome.
Oh wow.
Oh, great job, Joe.
Yeah.
Hey.
Love it.
Nice.
Ooh, Julian, really nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, really great job.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome, Alberto.
Yeah.
Others.
Wow. Really nice. Ooh, that's cool, Mary.
We just did it at the same time. Yes.
See, that's a great
That's
idea.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is good.
Yeah.
Very
Really
nice.
great
Good
job.
grouping there.
That's awesome.
Oh, Bernard would have loved that.
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
lovely, Addie.
Just
Cool.
Great job, Peter.
Nice.
Peter King.
Oh,
Fun.
Ken, that's so cool.
I don't
That's
know.
really great job, Ken.
Wow. That's wow.
wow.
Oh, fun.
So,
Oh, lovely.
yeah.
That's so delicately handled.
Nice.
Good job. Good sketch.
Hmm.
Oh, really fun, Karen.
Yeah.
Love the
Love
fade of the ink.
Oh,
Oh,
good idea.
Gary, that's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
excellent.
Dang, Gary. That's good.
Oh,
Marcy,
That's so
I love
funny.
it.
Stuff.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that.
Great, Jolly. Great job.
Right out of the crop.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you worked fast.
yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Really good.
Whoa.
Oh, that's awesome,
Ooh.
AJ.
That's really pretty.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great,
Nice.
Jolly. Good job.
Beautiful.
Man.
Oh, I love that, Xander.
Love it, Xander.
Look at
So
that
much
color.
Really nice.
It's
Yes,
Yes.
Good.
like a cartoon about Bonnard.
Good.
that's delightful.
Marcy, I want to see
Really
a
love hanging
couple
out
of
with them.
artists from you. This is so good.
So good. Really nice job, Jeff.
Mm,
Oh, your hat.
Oh,
that
that's
hat.
awesome.
Hat wins.
That's got attitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great
No.
job. Good drawing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's delightful. Great job.
Love it. That's the Motley Crue approach to the hat.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
really nice.
great.
Think of all the birds Nikki Six saved.
Yeah, Freebird.
The hole in the ozone made up for it though.
Yeah.
That's right.
Good job.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Really nice, Nicole. Good lines.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh, I love his expression.
Whoa,
Oh, wow.
that's awesome.
Really nice, Sander. Oh, that's fun.
Hat.
Great job. So cool.
Love the hands too in the bottom.
Yeah. Great job, Jeff.
Nice.
Speaking of fun hands,
Yeah. Yeah.
really nice.
Good
Good
stuff.
job.
There too. Yeah.
How many does just I stand by the idea. I think Jeff has a room full of people drawing.
I think he's actually like an octopus, you know?
Right.
And he's just got 8 arms that all are working on drawings at
Yeah.
once.
Right. And they've all got their own nervous system. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Each arm has a brain in it.
Right.
Each
Right.
arm has a brain.
Great job, Terry.
Love it.
Oh, that's
I love the
great likeness
sissiness
on
puzzle
that.
set.
That's a nice drawing.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Ooh.
Also really nice. Good job.
Oh, those are fun.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Great job. I love that turtleneck.
Hmm.
Fun.
Oh, that Nathan Oliveira is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know what he's saying.
Oh, I like that drawing. That's really nice.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Wes Andersonian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so punk rock.
Yeah, it is.
That's so fun.
Oh, fun.
Mm,
That's cool. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
That's so cool.
another.
Great job.
Yeah.
I love when I know Marie Cassatt's coming up because I just see the bit of the hat as it
Yes.
scrolls up.
Yeah, that's the hat really stole the show on this
It really
episode.
did. It's its own character.
Yeah.
Great job.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice. Good
Wow.
reads.
Sheen in that hair, though.
I was just gonna say he has maybe the best head of hair on
Yeah.
their man
It is
I've
really
ever
good
seen.
hair.
You know what? If you were to have to put a number on it, the value is just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got a 9.8 on the dismount.
yeah, exactly.
Good
That's-
likeness on that.
Oh, that's cool.
That
Yeah.
is cool. That's
Wow.
really cool. Nice.
Oh, man.
That's so
Hey,
great.
Michael.
Thanks.
Lovely.
Wow.
That's
Ooh.
beautiful.
The hat feathers.
Yeah.
Give it
Yeah.
a zoom.
Holy crap.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
That's really great. Good job.
Oh, that's nice.
Hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Awesome.
Oh, the hands are lovely on that.
Yeah.
Great job. Great foreshortening.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so much fun. I
Oh,
love it.
that's fun. That's got a lot of good energy. Hat. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
He looks dangerous in that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Cool.
Oh, oh wow.
Sienna.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful color for that. Love it.
I love how it relates to the
Really nice.
artist.
Yes.
Yeah,
You got those
totally.
Bernard colors in it. Yeah.
Really. Wow.
Just lovely. I love that.
Oh,
Awesome.
Really
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Man. Some good
Got a
stuff.
good
Everybody
turnout
was
tonight.
on.
Nice. Oh,
Oh,
that's
so much fun. I
cool.
love that.
Great line work.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Ooh.
Artist Christopher.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Those are great planes in that. brush.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just lovely.
Oh, nice.
Great hat.
Love it.
Really fun.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. Oh
Awesome.
my God.
Awesome.
Well, it's
Yes.
Right, but to the we had Bonnard color and we got Francis Bacon marks.
that's
That
right.
was that's what he looked like about 30 seconds before the photo was taken. Is that
That's what his paintings look like.
That's
Yeah.
what they look like. Yeah.
Mhm.
that's great. Lovely.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
beautiful.
that's lovely.
Beautiful.
Ooh. It's nice too.
Great job.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
Really nice.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Great handling of the tie, too.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Yeah, those are
I
nice.
love
marks.
that one.
Man.
Great
awesome stuff.
job. Dang, guys.
Yeah, jeepers.
Brought it tonight.
Nobody bailed on the hat.
No.
Nope.
No, for the word goat being met with skepticism, this is a good turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't seem that controversial. These are great.
Oh, that's lovely. I love that.
I love the ones where because Bonnard sort of looks like he needs a hug in that photo, and I love the photo.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
the drawing to get that across.
He does,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah,
He does. Totally. He looks like he kind of got bullied right before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martha was apparently kind of tough.
Yeah, I believe it. This is the last one. Everybody, that great one to end on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Fun
great.
night, everybody.
Fantastic.
Always
Thank
such
you,
a-
everybody, for coming and drawing with us. It was a terrific night. Dale, Cassandra, Adam, Timmy, thank you so much.
Yeah, great to see you again, Dale.
Same
Thank
here.
you, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Hey,
Oh, happy Groundhog's Day tomorrow.
there we go. Yep.
Gotta post the
Hey.
family